I got to kick this thing off. Can I kick it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Marv B, and you are tuned in to another episode of the Man Listen Show. Before we get started, let's hear a few words from our sponsors.
DDs Daiquiris is your #1 supplier of premium daiquiri mixes. You will love the taste of our classic margarita and signature strawberry mixes. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at DDs Daiquiris. DD is spelled D-E-E-D-E-E. You can also find us at www.ddsdaiquiris.com. DDs Daiquiris, giving good vibes to good people, one good drink at a time.
Are you looking for a virtual assistant who can help you with your scheduling, travel, research, and expenses? Demi Virtual Solutions is the answer for you. Demi Virtual Solutions also provides mobile notary services. They will travel to take care of your needs. So if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and need a virtual assistant or are looking for mobile notary services, contact them at 469-522-9005, and you can find them on their website at demivirtualsolutions.com. That's DEMI virtualsolutions.com. Are you in the state of Texas and looking for a knowledgeable loan advisor that will walk you through the process from application to closing? Well, then you need to contact Joe Byers at Trinity Oaks Mortgage. Trinity Oaks Mortgage offers FHA, VA, and conventional loans. They also have a first-time homebuyers program available. There is also down payment assistance available as well. Make sure you contact Joe Byers at Trinity Oaks Mortgage. You can reach Joe at 972-512-8990.
More Grace Counseling and Mediation Services offers individual and relationship counseling as well as mediation services to the community. At More Grace, healthy partnerships are valuable and beneficial. Please visit the website www.moregracecounseling.com for more information about our approach to counseling. More Grace Counseling and Mediation Services, where we offer more grace and more healing.
Please buy the new book by Arika Nicole Moore, Diabolical Tales of Woe. Diabolical Tales of Woe is a thrilling collection of short horror stories that leave you in an excited trepidation to see what will happen next. Prepare to face one horrific encounter after the next in this captivating novel. You can find this book on Amazon in the Kindle and paperback version. That is Diabolical Tales of Woe by Arika Nicole Moore. Conversate with Us Radio presents the Man Listen Show. We are the blackest radio show on the internet. We bring you our opinion on topics that affect the black community in an effort to enlighten, enrich, and empower every brother and sister that falls under the sound of our voice. We operate on a no-hating frequency, so be prepared for us to keep it 100% real and 100% black all the time. Please make sure you click the subscribe button and give us the thumbs up. Also, make sure you follow us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at ManList. Also, if you'd like to donate to the show, you can find us on Patreon. The link is below. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Hey, what's good?
Good. So, what'd you say?
So I'm all right.
All right. Well, we should be doing all right. So, we got a new president-elect, Joe Biden, and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. So everybody got what they want at 45 is out of office. But I think now the time is for us to not just celebrate too much. I think we make a mistake as black people. We throw a pep rally way too early before we really get what we need to get. And I think that what we need to get is a reward for our vote. I believe a vote is transactional, and I believe that we should be rewarded. Black women turned out over 90% for the Biden-Harris campaign, and black men turned out over 80% for the Biden-Harris campaign. So it's time for us to get a return on investment for our vote. So we want to talk about that today. Let's talk about our thoughts on what's going on, because your boy 45 is still acting a fool. He he ain't conceded the election. He ain't, I'm kind of, me personally, I'm kind of worried as to what he's going to do over these next, what is it, January 20th? So what is it, like 60, almost 90 days until he's out of office? I know he's going to pardon everybody. Anybody that's in his crew, he going to give them a pardon. Anybody who got enough paper to pay, he probably going to pardon them too. So he going to act a fool. But what's y'all thoughts about the election, when Biden winning, and what's going to go on in the meantime before the inauguration happens in January?
I don't know. I think that we expected him to act a fool. Like you said, what he's going to do in these next couple of days is unpredictable, to say the least. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't pardon every pedophile and Lori Loughlin that he cross in between now and then. But we'll see.
Yeah. He's definitely unhinged. I mean, has he even made an appearance? I mean, I don't think anybody has seen him outside when they made the announcement he was on the golf course, playing golf when they projected that Biden was going to be the next president. But has he even made a public appearance?
Yeah, he did. He did a Veterans Day thing, but I mean, you kind of have to do that, right? He didn't speak though. He was just there.
Okay.
And they said this is the longest in his presidency that he's ever gone without making a public statement. So yeah, he doesn't know what to do. He
making public statements.
I find it pretty funny myself,
It's just on Twitter where he's making these statements. You know what I'm saying?
You never know what he's gonna do. He's like you said, unhinged. He's unpredictable. I don't even think his family really knows. I think they're trying to talk him off the ledge. Honestly, they're more sane than he is. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the GOP responds.
Well, and he's losing a lot of his backing too. What were you saying? Go ahead, Mark.
Now, I was gonna say, I don't know. Them two older boys, they seem to be pushing. Don Jr. and Eric, they pushing him to keep fighting, but they two idiots, just like their daddy anyway.
Yeah, he don't listen to. He only listen to. I should say Ivanka and Jared. They're them the people he listened to. So
yeah, but he's losing most of his backing though. Most of the Republicans are just telling him to just kind of like move on and get over it. They're starting to bring Biden in and like brief him on things that they typically do when there's a president-elect. But, and he kind of got mad at them. So I think eventually he's just going to go away. He's just going to keep saying that they cheated, Yeah.
Well, I think, the main thing is what he's going to have to be held accountable for once he's out of office. Because I think I read he has about 6 pending cases. And even if they say, the people have asked the question, can he pardon himself? And yeah, he can pardon himself. I think whatever the answer is to say he can. If he pardons himself, that's just on the federal level. But the state of New York is waiting on that ass. You know what I'm saying? So whenever he goes back to Trump Towers, they might be waiting on him, like, bring that ass here, boy. New York might be waiting on that ass. They might be like, bring that ass here, boy. You know what I'm saying? As soon as he lands. So I think he mess around and leave the country. He got them hotels all over the world. So he mess around and just be out. You know what I mean? To try to go somewhere where they can't extradite him, they bring him back here. So I don't know.
He said that too. He said that if for some reason they cheat him out the election, he's going to leave the country. So that might be his plan.
Could be.
He going to try to move in next door to Asada?
He going to Russia. We are
somewhere in Europe.
But he might have outlived his usefulness in Russia, so he might be hiding out from them too.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But man, the thing that really stood out to me in this election is that Black people really brought it home for the Democrats. I ain't gonna lie, when the election was going on and those states like Wisconsin and Michigan and Ohio, Pennsylvania, when they were, counting the votes and Trump was up in a major way before bedtime, and people were like, now, wait a minute, this could change, though, because of all the mail-in ballots and the absentee ballots. I kind of had that sinking feeling like we had last election. But I got to tell you, Black people really showed up. And kudos to all the brothers and sisters in Detroit and Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Atlanta, because it looks like Georgia mess around and will turn blue. So kudos to all the Black people who turned it around. And to me, that just drives home the point that it's time for us to get what's due to us. You know what I mean? It's not just let's Like, you remember when Obama got into his first term, we were all like, well, let him get through his second term, and then we're going to get what's coming to us. And it never happened. I think the time is now for us to apply pressure. We got to apply pressure from as soon as he's inaugurated, we applying pressure. Matter of fact, now, you know what I mean? Like, hey, listen, this is what we want. And I think it's incumbent upon us to have an ask, because if we just say, hey, what about us, but we don't tell them what we want, that's a problem.
I feel like as soon as the election was called, people started talking about, remember what you said about them student loans though, bro. I started seeing those memes right away.
Yeah, for real. So my thing is, I think we really need to be educated about what we can get from Biden, because when soon as Trump came into office, he was using his pen, it was putting all these kind of executive orders into place, and I don't know how impactful all of those really were, but I know that it can be done. You can wield power in that way if you don't have Congress on your side. So right now they have the House, but the Senate is in the balance, right? And that's why we're focusing on Georgia, trying to make sure that we can get that 50-50 split, so that the Democrats can try to push some sort of agenda through. But I think we got to have an ask. I don't know if y'all thought about it. What would you ask from the president? What would you ask from Biden Harris for Black people to pay for the vote that we gave to them?
The funny thing is, a big thing that people have been talking about is abolishing the Electoral College. It's interesting because in my research, I found that Trump was all for abolishing the Electoral College until Hillary won the popular vote in the race against him. Then he wasn't for it anymore. But when Senator Warren brought it up, and then Senator Harris actually said that she was open to abolishing the Electoral College.
We got to give her props. We got to give her props. She's vice president-elect. Oh,
sorry. Yeah, right. Vice president-elect.
The election's not done, guys. The election's not over, guys.
It's a wrap.
All right, Trump. All right, Trump supporter. Listen.
Wait,
you're right, though.
So, didn't say that? See, Republican. You sure C didn't say that? I mean, hold on.
Whatever.
Expose her. You be so mad.
So being a Republican and being a Trump supporter are two different things.
I know.
True.
This Republican did vote for Obama once.
Okay, we're gonna leave that alone.
Is that supposed to be positive or negative? Because different people can take it differently.
We're gonna have to change the intro.
I'm telling you, I don't vote straight ticket. That's what I'm telling you. I vote for people. I don't vote for straight tickets. That's what I'm saying.
The problem with abolishing the Electoral College is that our government has been so divided for so long. It's hard to get anything approved in Congress. And so when you're trying to get an amendment passed to our Constitution, that's going to be really damn near impossible. And so that's why I think that what you're saying is, if we had like an ask, he could definitely write an executive order saying, hey, look, the Electoral College is not a thing anymore. And what I learned during that research is that some of the states have guaranteed that they will provide their Electoral College votes to whoever wins the popular vote. So the likelihood of them getting all states to do that is very slim to none.
I see those I really hate Black people states like, Georgia, Louisiana, Montana,
North Dakota.
Yeah, North Dakota, South Dakota. I don't see them going for that in the least.
South Dakota.
Yeah, I don't see them going for that in the least. But yeah, it would be good to get rid of the.
And that's why I think that a good ask, it would, because it doesn't make any sense that places like those I hate Black people rural spots have a more heavily weighted vote than places like California or New York, or major cities. Their vote is basically undermined by the Electoral College. And it might not have been a big thing back when the Electoral College was created, because there wasn't that many people in the world. But like all things, it's time to bring our Constitution into modern times, and we just haven't done that. And that's something we definitely need to do. And we need to start by abolishing the Electoral College. And he could do that with an executive order.
Okay. Lad, what you think?
I agree with that part about the Electoral College, and the whole Constitution. That's a whole nother topic for me. I'm start from scratch. But anyway, with an executive order, man, it's tough. I wouldn't have something for an executive order per se. I don't know if it would fly for an executive order, but how about instead of giving the tax abatements for businesses, Black people get a 25-year tax abatement, right? So, that's something instead of a straight, because it's going to be tough to do the reparations thing. How about the tax abatement? They give it to businesses all the time, and typically that hurts the Black community because that's where they're redeveloping the inner cities and the urban cores and things like that. So they're stripping that money directly from them. So instead of giving it to the businesses,
do those tax abatements come from the federal government though? Or are they issued by the state?
that's what I say. I don't. Some of them are from state. I'm sure there are some by federal too. I'm not sure, but I mean, I have no clue. That's why I said I don't know if it could be done by executive order. But because by executive order, I don't know. I can't think of anything to just say executive order, here's this, because reparations, that's not gonna happen. It would be lovely. But that's not gonna happen by executive order.
Nah,
Why not though?
What'd you say?
Well, it's not gonna. I mean, it put like this: the way that we talk about reparations, he might have something like financial incentives to create more programs or something like that. That could be done, but a straight distribution of funds that I don't know that can be done, or it would be. Even if it could, I don't think it would ever happen.
For me, I think he needs to use his cabinet to try to make a difference for us. I mean, one of the things I was thinking about, because it is difficult, because you have to have real knowledge of the federal government to make this happen. But I think he can use his labor secretary to try to put into some sort of regulations into effect that protect Black women in regards to equal pay, fair and equal pay.
Yeah.
Something that I would like to see. I also, of course, I would like to see reparations. I'd also like to see his education secretary, because as soon as we get rid of Trump, we get rid of that idiot DeVos too. I would like to see some sort of investment into schools that are predominantly Black, not minority, not predominantly Black, to make sure that they are given the resources that they need in order to grow and to be prosperous. So I think he can work it through his cabinet. He may not need to sign executive orders, but he can put forth, okay, this is what I want to see happen, and things can be put into place to help us. He definitely needs to have whoever's over housing to try to reverse the things that Ben Carson did to try to protect Black people. Because like, if you go across the country, I mean, a lot of y'all travel, you go across the country, man, it's tough on Black people. If you go to any major city, you see the number of homeless people. If you look at the number of homeless people, most of them are Black men. Most of them are Black men. And it's way disproportionate to what we are, how much we make of this population. So there's definitely needs to be something done for housing as well, because I just don't know how people are going to make it, because if you live in a place like California or even down here in Texas, hell, anywhere, especially with COVID going on and people losing their jobs, where are people going to live? And that's going to really affect us as Black people. So I think, through his cabinet, he can make some moves that can really help us. And they need to market it. They need to market it that way to let people know, hey, this is what I did. Because you think about it, like when Obama used Eric Holder and the investigations that they put into the different police departments who had allegations of mistreating Black people, like Cleveland and in Ferguson, that really did help us. So they definitely can make a difference through the cabinet and not have to rely on Congress to make things happen.
I think regulating the police department is not enough, though, because I just don't think they have enough time and resources to hit everybody. I think they have to come up with some type of system to hold them accountable from the front end. Because even now, you're right, like it made a lot of difference in New York and St. Louis and all that, but I guarantee there's going to be another incident here in 2 years, and I'm pretty sure some of those, old white sheriffs are already back up to their same shenanigans. So I just think there has to be something that holds them accountable, like something in place, like long term. And then again, I've said it before, I think it should require a secondary education to be a police officer. I think that's definitely something that he can do. And as for the executive orders, I don't really know much about them because I know Trump was signing them left and right, but I think like maybe only a fraction of them ever went anywhere. So I don't know what all Biden's able to do without somebody knocking it down. One of the things I would like to see is holding like banks accountable. I mean, we're only what 3 or 4 years removed from when Bank of America was held accountable for racial discrimination. So it's not like this is stuff that's happening in the 80s and the 70s and things like that. That's stuff that's happening now, and that plays a big part too. Where you said like if you go across America and see how like Black people are living, like home ownership, like it should be close to being equal now. So you're right. Black people did show up for Biden and Kamala, but one of the things you hear Black people saying is we're not going to hold them accountable for the things that they did and their views. His in the 70s, hers in the 90s, and as far as locking brothers up and stuff like that. So that's fine. We're not going to hold them to that. People change their views, but they got to figure out something to kind of either like make good on that or kind of reverse some of that or give us a plan moving forward. It's not enough to say we did this, this, and this, but we don't think this way now because that stuff is still affecting us. So what are you going to do moving forward? Like, how are you going to fix it or correct it? So that's what I'm looking forward to hearing from them at least.
I feel what you're saying, but I'm not really interested in words. I want to see the actions,
Right.
And I want to see the things that improve our day-to-day living. You made a good point about the banks because a lot of these presidents, they're beholden to the banks. They're beholden to Wall Street because of the major, funding and donations. But we know through history by, studies that we've seen and books that we read that we've been targeted by banks. We've been exploited by banks. So that's another piece that can be done that doesn't involve Congress, that doesn't involve the Senate or the House of Representatives. Those are things that can be, initiatives that can be put into place by his cabinet and can be carried out. I mean, so there's definitely ways that they can help the Black community. And I think that it needs to be twofold. We need to have that pressure on them nonstop. We don't need to give them a pass like we gave President Obama. Black people, we got Obama in the office, everybody was excited. I was excited. I was excited the first time. I was excited the second time. I was at the second inauguration, doing the Cabbage Patch, doing the electric slide, trying to stay warm, just like everybody else. I was. But the time for us to throw pep rallies is over because we're not there yet. We're still struggling as Black people. So now's the time to apply pressure. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Pressure is the only way you're going to make people change. And, I'm kind of saddened to see that there are some Black people who are like, well, we just wanted 45 out of office. That was the goal. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. And we proved that we are the difference makers. We proved that we are the difference makers because it definitely wasn't the Latinos. It definitely wasn't them.
Hey, they got Arizona.
Huh?
You got Arizona.
They won without Arizona. So it definitely wasn't them.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But you know what? This is the thing is I saw somebody in Georgia today said Georgia really has never been a red state. It's just been a disenfranchised state. So I look at Georgia, I look at North Carolina, I look at South Carolina. Not only do they have pretty high percentage of Black population compared to the rest of the country, but they also have a lot of educated Black people there that are college educated, a lot of colleges, a lot of HBCUs, everything. And so I never understood how in those states it was never closer. Like North Carolina, I think of just because I go there all the time and I just know the people that I see and everything. There's no way it should even be close to being a blowout for Republicans there. If historically the way Black people vote throughout the rest of the country, they vote that way in North Carolina, it shouldn't even. It should be a toss-up state at best. At worst, I would say.
Voter suppression. That's it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's voter suppression 101.
Because North Carolina in particular.
Yeah.
You remember in North Carolina in the news, the Republicans there, they were sued and it went to the courts.
Yeah, that was Bladen County. That's where my people. Yeah,
because it was found that they targeted Black people with like laser-like precision. How do we nullify their vote? Because they were having polling places on the HBCU campuses. They got rid of all of those. So when they were having those soda polls, people would leave church and walk to the polling places to vote, they eliminated that. So they put all kind of obstacles into place. They said, "Nah, we won't have North Carolina turn blue again. We'll figure it. We'll find a way to nullify that." So you're right. I like what you said. There's never been a blue state. It's never been a not. What'd you say?
It's never been a red state. It's been a disenfranchised state.
That's perfect. Yeah. That's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. So, and that's another thing that we can do. You know what I heard people say, and I don't think it'll happen, because I think if they do, these white folks will lose their what. I heard they're going to expand the Supreme Court. That just talks about expanding the Supreme Court. Now, I don't know the Democrats, they've shown in the past they ain't got nuts like that to try to do something bold, but that would be a game changer. That would be a game changer.
And I don't know the history of the Supreme Court like that, but how long has it been 9 justices, right? Similar to what you were saying earlier, Erika, that was when there was a lot less people, right? So you would think that as you expand, naturally the court should expand to accommodate, so that you get more representation as well. That's what I would think.
Yeah. The other thing I would say with that is I absolutely hate the fact that we have all of these elderly people running the country. Now, no offense to elderly people, we appreciate your wisdom, but that's when you move from CEO to a consultation position.
Yeah.
Like, if you're past the age of retirement, you should not be serving on the Supreme Court. We should not be wishing you out of surgery for their 3rd cancer treatment to rule on a major nation-changing, issue.
Right.
Same with president. Like,
your president-elect 77, he way past retirement.
Way
past. Same thing with these senators and House of Representatives. That's why I would say my other ask would be term limits. And they never gonna put term limits on themselves. And I think that there was a bill passed years and years ago, or not passed, stop it. It was a bill introduced years and years ago that would put term limits on them, 12-year limits basically on both of them, 2-year terms on Senate, 6-term limits on House of Representatives, because they're only like 2 years per term or whatever, basically limiting them both to 12 years. And that would be hard to pass in Congress because they're becoming millionaires off of those positions of power. And it's ridiculous.
Right.
And they're in there old as hell, getting fat off the tea, and then just dying in the seats, getting reelected, dead. Like, people are just that dumb that they're just going to keep voting people in over and over again. There has to be a limit, and they're not going to do it to themselves. And that balance of power, that ability to limit their power, should come from the executive office. That should come from Biden and Harris. And if they could do that with an executive order, put term limits on Congress.
But that might be something that might be constitutional though. So
I don't know.
It is, but that's the thing. But that's getting an amendment passed with the division, and that's the same thing with the Electoral College. Changing things that are fundamental to the Constitution are going to be near impossible with the way things are in Congress right now. But the main things that need to be done are getting those same people out of office so change can be made. Like, we're literally hanging in the balance at the whim of people who we wouldn't trust to even do our taxes. Like these people are probably like near past retirement, near nursing home age, and they're running the country. It's ridiculous. Like, somebody should be helping them to their seat at Denny's.
Rika said just skipped us getting the elderly viewership. She don't want no elderly at all.
Hey, but you know what?
They don't know how to turn on podcasts.
Those are conversations though that you have to have with your family in real life too, though. You know what I mean? Like, there's a point where everybody's had to say, "Hey, grandma, you probably shouldn't be driving anymore."
Oh, you got to take the keys.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what she said. We need to take the keys.
Yes, exactly, by force.
So, hey, but before we go, did y'all see Representative Jim Clyburn and the interview that he gave and how sad that was? They interviewed Representative Jim Clyburn. I think he's the majority whip. in the
Whipping
Congress.
boy, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So they asked him, okay, black people helped win the election. What's your ask? What do you want? His thing was like, what do you mean what I want? I don't want nothing from Biden. What? This is
Man.
He said he literally said, I don't want nothing. I'm good.
He's good. He's good.
Yeah,
He's
good.
been there for a while.
And that's the problem.
Yeah,
they're all millionaires. Of course they're good.
What about all the black people you represent in South Carolina?
Yeah.
In the Low Country. You know what I'm saying? Who are impoverished. What about them? And to me, I'm like, that's the type of leadership that we have. That's sad.
It is.
That's sad. And it speaks to the point why we got to get them out. We got to get them up out of there.
It's more than sad. It's treasonous, really, because of the whole point of the Constitution was to prevent us from being under the strong arm of government, and that they've taken all of those things that were supposed to protect us from the king and queen type government and turned it into this intricate network of favors. And if I've been doing favors for you for 30 years, I owe you 30 favors, you owe me 30 favors. I literally cannot move the way I want to move because I can't piss off all the people that I owe favors to. Imagine if I only get to be in here 2 terms. I'm just going to do what I want to do because really it's only so much I can do. That would literally change the dynamic of how you moved in office. That's why presidents do like that. That's why we thought that Obama was going to come in guns blazing second term, and he didn't. Right. But, you know what I mean? Because he knew, well, I'm already a millionaire. I don't care about the rest of these guys. And that's how I feel.
The other piece, too, is Obama really spent a lot of his political capital on the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah.
Affordable Health Care Act. And once he did that, he lost Congress. He lost the Congress. I think the Dems, they got murdered at that next election. So really, he was kind of nullified in the things that he can do in terms of pushing forward legislation. But there are things that he could have done with his cabinet, like I talked about earlier. So,
I think if Obama had done the things Trump did, Democrat wouldn't win a national election for 25 years. And so I think
the better thing is to say, if Obama was as dumb as Trump, he would have never gotten into office.
You know what? That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
That's true.
That's you're right. That's the better point. It would have never came to that. But I think so. I think he kind of tempered himself. But yeah, he could have done more. If we all honest with ourselves, like we say, you look back on it, we didn't hold him accountable. We need to hold whoever.
That's on us.
That's on us.
That's a mistake that we made. So we need to learn from that. So going forward, the pressure is on, full court press on Biden, Harris, and the Democrats, because whatever they do in these first, they talk about the first 90 days of a presidency. If there's nothing for Black Americans, ADOS, there needs to be a problem. There's a problem that needs to be raised with them because, I think I read where they said, he's going to, as soon as Biden gets into office, he's going to, use his pen to reverse a lot of the Trump executive orders. And what was one of the first things he's going to try to reverse? DACA. Yeah. Something about the immigrants. Okay, that's fine, but you better make sure we get ours. You better make sure that we get ours. You know what I'm saying? So, if you don't, that's a problem because they didn't even vote for you.
Right. So I said, how many executive orders did Trump do versus any other of the recent presidents? And he had significantly more per year, average wise, but I looked through all his. He had one that says something about Asian Americans, helping them, I don't know, education or be prosperous. He had one to help Hispanics. He didn't have nothing specifically saying African American. Nothing.
I thought he had one to use.
What he did on that one, it was actually Obama's. He just renewed it. Obama already had one. He just renewed it.
Okay.
So, but yeah, he had some. Matter of fact, he had something for Jewish Americans. Obviously, he had one for Asian Americans, one for Hispanics, and one for Native Americans. Literally, I looked through all 4 years, and I said, maybe I'm not looking at this right. And I looked through them all, and I didn't see anything earmarked specifically for African Americans.
Did any of those make any moves, or were they all shot down?
I don't know if they made moves or not. Honestly, I just looked at what executive orders were. I don't know what the end outcome was or what the end benefit possibly could have been or will be or whatever, but that just stood out to me. There was nothing that said the Black community, African American community, or anything. I was shocked. Yeah.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie.
Not.
If I was Trump, I wouldn't have gave you Negroes 1 red cent. All y'all voted for the Democrats anyway.
Right. What do you have to lose? That's what his
right.
motto was.
I wouldn't have gave y'all nothing. So now that we got Biden in office, what's that mean? You better give us something. You better pay like you weigh.
He had his fan base to lose. That's what he had to lose.
Yeah.
Well, and I think even now, like we definitely got to hold Biden accountable, but I also feel like there needs to be a backup plan. Like Black people have to stop just handing Democrats their vote. Like, let's come up with a plan now. If y'all don't want to all move to Republican, let's find the third party, and see what they're talking about. Let's just give them our vote.
They probably want Black people so bad in the Republican Party. You probably can speak to that more than anybody, but that we could
come on in.
Shots fired.
They are.
I know. I'm saying you might be able to siphon off, some people and at least moderate their platform a little bit to get them to start making concessions and moving closer and closer, which would then force the Democrats to move even further and further. You see what I'm saying? So you kind of play them against each other.
But I don't. I think the word that you use, siphon. The Republicans, they don't want to do this. They don't, because there's too much of that ADOS Harriet Tubman energy in us that we gonna never mess with what they got going on. They're gonna go for the immigrants and the sellouts who've been all the way broken down. But if they can just siphon off enough of us, if they can pay off a Lil Wayne, pay off a 50 Cent, and say, okay, let's get these get a few of these little dumb Negroes to not vote, to stay at home, then we can we don't really want to do anything for them, but we just want to just nullify the power that the Democrats have. That's it. So it's incumbent on for me that the Democrats say, okay, wait a minute. Black women voted, I think they voted like 92, 93% for Biden Harris, which was, they lost, I think, for Hillary, 96% of Black women voted. So they starting to lose ground with Black women. Black men were 80%. Now, everybody's talking about, Yeah, everybody's talking about Black women, and I love my sisters, yeah. But if you don't get that 80% from the brothers, you don't win.
Right.
And so you got a problem. You got a blind spot with Black men that you need to show up. So you need to show it up with our women and with the brothers. So basically, take care of the Black community. That's what needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that should happen, which none of them are going to do, is to make it so that the other two parties are automatically in debates and automatically on the ballot. Because if they really had to compete against the Libertarian and the Tea Party, then
and they probably got a Green Party.
Green Party and the Libertarian or whatever. Yeah. The election is totally different. We still count votes. We still trying to figure out who won to this day if all four parties were in debates. Because if, let's say, when the Democratic Party chose Hillary, Bernie had gone over to like the Green Party or something like that. If that had been a viable option and he was on the ballot, he'd have beat her. Easy. Easy. His fan base was way stronger than hers.
But I think the problem is this. Libertarians, if you know about them, they worse than Republicans. They are. They're worse. That's like the Koch brothers. Real, that's Koch brother type of policy right there. And the Green Party, it's been alleged that they really are kind of funded, and the puppet master behind them is like overseas. Because again, most people who vote Green Party, if they weren't voting Green Party, they would vote Democrat. So it's that siphoning off of the vote that doesn't really make them that they really, because like Ralph Nader when Gore lost Florida. Nader had no chance, but he hurt Gore, but he still had no chance. And that's how we ended up with W. So that's the only problem. I figure in terms of not just having the Republicans and the Democrats, but I think it really just goes back to Black people. We need to come up with our voting block and come up with what we want, what we need, and say, okay, here's the table. Like Cube did, like Cube tried to do, and people crucified him for, that's what we need to do on a bigger scale. So all the people that was dogging Cube out, now I hope that you try to get with Cube or try to do something like Cube and put something together and do it now so we can apply the pressure. So,
And we need to make sure that Biden and Harris are meeting with Cube and people like that who are presenting plans, because I mean, you wanted his vote. You said you was doing stuff for the Black community. Here's somebody who, I mean, he may not be political, but neither was Trump. Somebody who's actually got their ear to the street might be able to give you some insight into the next best move. And so you got to at least hear him out. And if you're not willing to do that, then that just tells me that your mindset, your heart really ain't in the right place. We're trying to hear Black people, period. And your feet need to be to the fire. That means you need to be listening to every single Black person that comes with a viable, plan. Not every idiot. Like I
not
would listen to
everything.
anything Lil Wayne had to say, because I swear that child is an alien. That's not a lie.
He's a Martian. Yeah, ain't that what he say?
I would cross the street if I saw that man in real life. But people with a viable plan that's outlined and strategic, that deserves some. I mean, you could even have a committee that reviews these types of plans and sets up these meetings and whatnot. But it needs to be something, I feel like, that is strictly for Black people, because we've been underrepresented for so long. I need us to see somebody go above and beyond to show the world, hey, we are doing something for Black people, for the Black community.
On that speech on Saturday, he said that specifically though. He said to the African American community, basically, you always have my back. Now I'm gonna have yours, and all. We'll see. That might just be rhetoric. He said he wants his cabinet to be representative of like America. So we'll see. I saw some stuff right now about his transition team, and it was very lackluster already on the diversity aspect, including Black people. But
yeah. Well, before we wrap it up, I'm gonna say this: definitely, the focus needs to be on the Biden-Harris campaign. I've said it several times. The pressure needs to be on. But I'm telling you who else I'm looking at. I'm looking at the bougie, so-called elite Black folks who were quick to say, just shut up and vote. Just shut up and vote. Now, my eyes are on you. Because if the only answer is, hey, I just wanted 45 out of office, you funny style. So now you need to have an ass. You need to get behind us who said, hey, what's in it for us? You need to be behind us, because you got what you wanted. You got your guy in. We all got Trump out. We're all tired of seeing that mediocrity, that imbecile in office. But now, are you really for Black people? Are you only for Black people who are on your level, who fit your economic status?
Yes.
Or are you for Black people as a whole? Now the spotlight is on you as well. And if you don't do that, I'm looking at you funny style. But anyway, I think we talked about it enough. Family, make sure you hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Make sure you follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter @ManListenShow. Make sure you share the show, and make sure you tell everybody about the Blackest Radio Show on the internet. We'll holler at you next time. Peace.
Peace.
Holla.